Hey everyone, Chen here, bringing you guys another video. Today, I'm going to showcase every single Infinite E spot on Akshan, both the regular swing and the glitched swing that I'll be talking about in this video. So, it's going to be a pretty long video. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it. Let me know down in the comments below. Before we begin, though, I do want to showcase exactly why this is useful. Some niche instances where if you master this, you're able to pull it off, and it's going to be very, very good. So, here's my TikTok that I made. I'm against Olaf, and as you can see, it is absolutely disgusting if you're able to pull it off. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, I'm going to only really mention, yes, I mentioned quote-unquote all, but I want to only really mention the useful ones. So, obviously, like, there are specific ones you can do. For example, this Nexus one. Obviously, there will be quite a bit of fails as well, but I'm not necessarily going to cut them off unless I just fail an infinite amount of time. But this one is not useful, right? So, I'm not going to mention that necessarily. Cool. So, Nexus Tower, this one is useful. Let's say, hypothetically, another thing I want to mention is I will try my best to give you case by case where these are useful. So, Nexus Tower is going to be useful in the sense, let's say hypothetically there was like a bunch of enemy minions coming and you need to defend really quick. Your E-swing, boom, just like that. So important to know about this lineup is you cannot start next to your Nexus because you do not have enough swing angle. You have to start on the side. For example, right here. If you start on the side, you're going to get an infinitely swing. So let's say hypothetically there's a bunch of minions here. You want to clear it. Obviously, E is going to do a lot more damage than just standing still and auto-attacking. Cool. Another one that's pretty important. Similar concept, inhib, or yeah, it's going to be the inhib one. Same concept if they're, minions. This one I actually do use quite aggressively as well. Let's say, for example, we're pushing up an inhib. I will oftentimes just swing, and this will either confuse the enemy, make them try to engage on me when, they see me on a engage timer, and then I can easily hop off and just play that accordingly. Stuff like that. So this one's fairly useful. And similar concept with Tombstone. Similar concept with this thing as well. So all of these are, same functionality, right? You use these whether you're base defending or you're base attacking, right? Now, tier 3 towers are very easy. If you fuck this up, I don't know what you're doing. You just walk a reasonable space, and you're going to infinitely swing. There's no real lineup for this, because, obviously your inhib is super far. You can do it from, very far range, right? If you want a very large circle, you can also do it a fairly small circle. Cool. Now, one that is fairly niche, but does have some rare cases is using this one. This one is very rare, but this one, more or less the reason why you want to know this isn't necessarily to infinite swing, but just to know the swing lineup. So you can go all the way around here. Let's say an enemy is right here and you want to cover a larger distance. This swing will get you there. So this one's fairly useful as well. Now, towers, every single tower is coded differently. So instead of me just sitting here showcasing to you guys the different lineups, because I'm going to fail a bunch, you guys can definitely test around, but just know that towers are doable as well. There are specific lineups. So this one is roughly E range here. What I mean by E range is, as you can see, the moment I throw my E, my character walks slightly back, right? So that's what I mean by E range. So if I do this, my character walks slightly back, and generally speaking, that's going to work. Let me do it again. There we go. So yeah, cool. I can do it on this one as well. This one is very precise, actually. Tier 1 is a very precise range. So actually, it's very, very similar to the Tier 2. Sometimes you will randomly stop. I think that's just an Akshan interaction, though, which kind of sucks. But yeah, you walk into your E range, and then you'll be able to get it off. Cool. Moving on to the sides. Like I said, I don't want to mention everything. I'm only going to mention blue side, technically. And then you guys can kind of test around with red side. They should be fairly similar. You try 10 times, and you'll be able to get it. Now, I do want to mention that is very important, is this tower specifically is extremely rigged. As you saw from the TikTok, you have a wide range of failure, area to fail. So, as you guys can see here, it's past my E range, and I'm still able to swing. So let me show you here. It's well past my E range. Okay, it's not working. There we go. This should work. There we go. It's well past my E range ever so slightly, and I'm able to swing. So this one is extremely forgiving, as you saw by the TikTok. This one's very useful, right? Because you'll be able to get this with nearly 99% accuracy. So in game, this is extremely easy to replicate. Unless you practice all of these, then you'll replicate them pretty easily. Cool. And then I'll touch on this one. This one should also be... Sometimes the starting position matters as well. So this one should be from this position, I believe. Wait for it. Okay, maybe it's this position? Hold on. There we go. Okay, so this one is going to start from this position, right? And once again, I'm not actually going to cut that part out. The reason why I'm showing you this is because, yes, you can practice it and get these to 100% accuracy. If you spend hours and hours and muscle memory exactly where you want to start and the exact lineup of which each tower you do, you can get it with 100% accuracy and curb stop. Generally speaking, I don't necessarily need it because I can use E other ways, but you know, just something cool in terms of Akshan mastery that you can do, right? And then that is actually all of the infinite E-swings that I showcased. Now we're going to talk about glitched E-swing. Not only am I going to show you a tutorial on how to do it right now, but I'm going to show you generally all the useful spots that you can do it. So, if you don't know what a glitch swing is, this is what an infinite E-swing used to be, except they changed it to where you can only do it 3 seconds in objectives now, right? So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it is... Hold on. There we go. It is this, but as you can see, you're going to get stopped 3 seconds. So that's not necessarily an infinite swing, right? But, very important to note, you can actually do it on other areas, right? So, maybe you can do it here. I've actually never tested here. I presume you can do it here, though. Yeah. So why is this useful? Well, okay, that one stopped as well. This one's useful because, let's say hypothetically, right? There's just a bunch of enemies lined up here. Okay, so this one's infinite, right? This is the actual infinite glitch swing. You're basically swinging on nothing, right? So let me do a tutorial on how to do it. And yes, the cast time can differ. It's honestly completely random, generally speaking, right? Generally, if you do it on objectives, it's going to be 3 seconds. I know they cap that, but sometimes if you do it on regular terrain, it can cap at 3 seconds. I think there's something that caps it at 7 seconds, and then sometimes you genuinely will get it infinite. But let me explain how you actually do it. I made a video about this before, but I'll just explain it here. The whole premise is to E and right-click at the exact same time with some sort of lineup and some sort of like ledge, right? And if you get really good at doing this, you'll understand exactly where to go. So for Baron, it's right here. Boom. And of course, what used to happen is you used to be able to take objectives really quickly, but unfortunately, they patched it, which obviously sucks, right? But you can see the effectiveness. Now, there's multiple lineups. For example, this one should be a lineup. Wait for it. And once again, this will take practice. I'm generally not one to practice it too much. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this one 3 seconds. Let me see if that was a fluke. So like, yeah, you can definitely get to a point where you just practice it. That one's 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's infinite. So, as you can see, kind of varies, which does suck, but there's still very useful, like, understanding of mastery behind this concept, and there's still very useful, like, cases. For example, let's say there was an enemy here, and an enemy here, and an enemy here, right? You're completely gangbanged. Well, you can't really swing out anywhere because you'll just hit nothing, so you might as well swing like this, right? Very, very niche, but it's still a cool mechanic to understand and a cool mechanic to learn. Cool. So, I'll show you a couple more spots, and then I believe this one works as well. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's infinite, I believe, unless it stops at 7. Cool. So, why is this one useful? Well, why are these two useful? You clear jungle really fast. Obviously, if there's a bunch of enemies, you can do this from a nick of time, and you genuinely will do your maximum DPS ever that Akshan can possibly pump out, right? They have no counterplay to it unless they walk towards you, but generally speaking, they're too stun locked to do it. And the other thing is, this does allow jungle Akshan to be a thing. If you get really proficient at doing these, you can actually do jungle Akshan. I believe this is another spot. There we go. 1, 2. Okay, that one seemed to stop at 3. Okay, this one's a little bit hard. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, a little inconsistent though, which is why jungle Akshan isn't good, right? Even if you learned all of these, sometimes it's stopping at 3 seconds, which would completely fuck up your clear. Sometimes it goes infinite. Cool. Now I'm just gonna do red side, and that is basically the video. I believe there's a spot here. 1, 2, 3. So it actually seems to stop when there's something blocking you, is what I'm actually kind of figuring out recording this video, which is very interesting. Red buff is a little bit hard. Okay. Maybe when red buff dies. Okay, so it's when red buff dies that it actually gets easy, but there you go. There's that lineup, and then I believe there's a very deep lineup here that you can cheat out, which is very hard to do. But I mean, you guys get the understanding. You guys get what is capable. Now, what is more practical is actually in these ledges in mid lane, which is Akshan's main role. You can actually do it, right? So this is very useful. There's a lot of cases where this is useful. I haven't actually pulled it out in a game yet, just because, you know, when you're in a game, you don't really think about pulling stuff like this out. But in the future, there's definitely cases where I can pull this out, right? Let's say hypothetically, the enemy's trying to come to me, right? Enemy's chasing me. I pull them up with a little bit of infinite E-swing, right? If I'm able to get... Yeah, and then they're just confused, and I'm doing a lot of DPS. They run away, I can ulti them, stuff like that. And you can literally do it on all 4 ledges. I'm not going to bother here, failing. But yeah. Another thing that is very important to mention is you can actually do it on towers. So the same concept as to doing the regular infinite swing on towers, right? This one generally is more better for more... just because it has less counterplay, right? Their only counterplay is to body block you, but when you're swinging like that, it's really hard to. But you can definitely do it like that as well. So, very cool. Anyways, there you guys have it. There is the video. A little fun video for you guys, but hopefully you guys found it useful. I mean, is it completely practical and you're going to do it every single game? No. That's just the reality of it. What used to happen when you used to be able to do it on objectives, yes, you can do it every single game. I used to do this on Baron and Drake every single game. It was maximum DPS, but unfortunately, they patched it. Now, the niche, you know, infinite E-swing, stuff like that, you're not going to do it every single game. You're going to do it once in a blue moon, but it's a good skill to have, right? So if you have 0 experience doing it, go to practice tool every single day for a couple minutes, practice it, and you'll get the hang of it, stuff like that, right? Like a lot of these I already have based on muscle memory, and a lot of these, you know, I don't necessarily use too much, right? Stuff like that. But anyways, that is it for the video. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, make sure to smash the like button. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Chen out.